Hello, hello. Making this go live. It's been a while. It's been about a month or two since I've done one of these videos, but a couple things. Vacation time obviously popping up, killing some time as people pop in. But we've got new hires, two of them. We've gotten new office space, hence the new background. I was going to do videos. I shouldn't care about where I'm broadcasting from, but it looked like I was in a prison in here, so I made sure I got backdrop done. But we got new office, two new employees. We've gotten over the last month or two, getting the software up and running. So I had the guy coming in from out of town that's helping us work with that, and just vacation time's been kind of putting things off. So it's been a while since I did one of these live videos, but I am ready to go now. Hey Bert, what's up, bud? Mike, how things going, guys? And please pop in. This one's can be debatable, and I think a lot of people are gonna agree or disagree with me on this one. I think more maybe disagree on what I was saying is restocking in a used car, changing the in-stock date. And I had this conversation with the dealer over email, but this dealer's up in the Northeast. Evidently, can't obviously list cars for sale without titles and things like that. And they're having a hard time transporting cars. Once they transport them, get them through service, and they're having 14, 21 days, 30 days before these cars are actually getting ready, photoed, ready for sale online. And so he's struggling a lot with the age policy we're trying to get him on a 60-day and to turn that inventory. And so he was debating on with me is, can we or should we restock a car in? If it took 27 days just to get this thing transported through service and online, can I restock it into day one now that it's ready to go? Because essentially it wasn't their fault on transportation maybe or something. But as a manager, I kind of understand it, because a lot of the managers are paid on gross and maybe have an age policy they got to stick to, and they're trying to go, well, it's not fair. I didn't get this car to present it to my customers to 3 weeks ago for 3 weeks. And so as a manager, they might want to reclock the car and restock it in to give it a 1 day old instead of 22 days old. And, because again, give it a shot to make some money, because they're paid off of front end gross typically, or just gross. Two, they got an aging policy, so they want to change the pricing there. But as a dealer, man, I always look at the inventory. What's up, Jeremy? I always look at the inventory as myself when I evaluate a dealer's inventory and I'm trying to help them turn their inventory to be more profitable. I look at the inventory as if I just wrote the check. And so as a dealer, I wrote the check on July 6th. And I don't care if it took 21 days to get it through, transport it and through service and everything up, parts holds or whatever else issues we have, right? As a dealer, I wrote this check on the 6th. It's been 21 days. That's a different problem. And as a dealer, that's my investment. But the dealer was telling me he wanted to reclock the cars and that he wanted to start, because he knew by day 21 we were on a meeting call, and hey guys, it's been a few weeks, we gave the car a shot, let's get the car moving and make adjustments to get this car sold. And they're like, well, hold on, we just got it on the lot. And to have this argument with the dealer kind of surprised me. Again, I get it as a manager because they got an aging policy and they got a gross policy, like you said, Jeremy. It's a pay plan issue. So I gave the dealer analogy. It might be similar to say, I told him, I said, it's just like, imagine you're buying gold online, or you see one of those Roswell, buy silver. And so you decide, hey, you know what? I'm going to buy some gold or some silver, and you buy it online, let's say, and it takes 10 to 14 days for that shipment of gold to get to you. All right. But in the meantime, that gold took a 5% drop from what you just paid for it. And so you don't get it for 2 weeks, and now it's worth 5% less than what you just spent on it. And you want to go, hold up, I just got my gold in my hands and it's worth 5% less. I want to sell it back to you because that's not fair. Or I'm going to go try to take it to the guy down the street at the pawn shop and get my money back and minimize my loss, right? So But with gold, hopefully, eventually that's a long-term investment and it comes back. But with cars, it's a depreciating asset. And you buy a car at the lane and it takes 2 weeks to get to you and it's worth 5% less. You got to cut your losses sooner than later on that vehicle. You can't just hold out like you can on gold and hopefully it comes back, because eventually it will. But just because it took you 2 weeks to get that gold into your hands doesn't mean it's still worth what you paid for it. It's worth less because the market moved. And you can't restock your gold in and go, hold on, go back to day one and I own it for this. So I don't know if that was a good analogy or not, but the clock starts when you write the check as a dealer. That's your investment. And if it's a depreciating asset, which cars are, you're going to want to make sure you get off of that as soon as possible and minimize your loss and not reclock and restock that car in. Again, as managers, this is where I said a lot of people may agree or disagree with me on this one, because as managers, I get it. Because again, shame on it. I think the pay plan structure should be different, and that's a whole other video. But you, as a manager, you want to get a shot to make some gross on a car and it just got here, and you got to get this car gone by the day it's 60 days old and it's already 21 and you haven't had a fair share at getting it going. But all the things that caused that car to take 21 days, if you look back, I guarantee there was things that you could have done better that didn't. You could say, well, I just got it out of service, and be like, well, it took 7 days. Well, and then the manager, as a dealer, I would say, well, why did it take you 7 days? Well, Tommy in service was sick. Well, he was sick for 2 days, 2 days ago. What about the 5 days before he was sick? Why wasn't that car in there then? And again, that's where I think if you actually look at all those steps that you could get better at that turnaround time. If you cut 2 days off your turnaround time on average in a month, 2 days, right? There's 12 months in a year. That's 24 days faster on getting those cars online. That's almost a full month. So if you sell 100 cars a month, and 24 is probably selling days of the month, if you can just cut 2 days off your turnaround time, that's 24 extra days in a year. That's almost an extra month. That's almost an extra 100 units, okay? And times that by your gross. So that turnaround time is important, and that's the issue you need to work on, not starting to clock over. All that does is enable us to keep making mistakes, because we'll be able to just reclock it. I wrote the check and on that day, and that's when that vehicle stays. So as a dealer, I beg you, look at it that way. When you write that check is when you own that car. Jeremy would say used car managers should be meeting with service every day. Yep, dedicated service writer. Exactly. I have a dealership. Matter of fact, I have Lot Party Show. I used to do my interviews weekly on my YouTube channel. I have an interview in there with a service manager that helped turnaround time. That's all he did for 4 stores. All he did was turnaround time for these 4 stores. He had a dedicated parts. He had 4 full-time detailers. They had that turnaround time down to 3 to 4 days. So within like 72 hours, they're turning around these cars. But he had a full dedicated team to it. Just met this AM and spoke on this topic. Good stuff. Thanks, Mike. Yeah, so again, as a dealer and as a GM, I mean, you got to think of it, and as a used car manager, technically, these are investment dollars. But one of the analogies that we used to give at Viato is the used car manager is one of the toughest jobs out there. And we would give the analogy of the dealer are a room full of investors, because you're actually a money manager. You should look at it as a stock portfolio. And if we're in a big conference, there's 100 stock portfolio managers out there, and we said, hey, who wants to handle a $2 million stock portfolio? Every hand and those investors would go up. I want that $2 million account, right? And if we're handling $2 million in inventory. But they say there's 3 catches to this account if you want to bring in this stock portfolio. 1, every purchase that you make, you're going to pay too much for it. 2, I want a return on my investment, 1,500 or 10% return on my investment. And 3, you got 60 days to do that. If you said you're going to pay too much for a vehicle or too much for that investment, I want it a return in 60 days, and I want it to be a certain percentage of profit, every hand would go down, because those type of numbers are impossible when we look at some of those things. But that's what you're doing as an inventory manager, as a used car manager. You're really handling those dollars. So when that check got stroked is when that clock starts. Don't reclock these cars, and just because it took you 2, 3, 4 weeks to get it turned around. Fix that problem, okay? Get that taken care of. Hope this was helpful. I'm going to kind of cut this, try to keep these somewhat short. If you want to give me a call, 844-LOTPOP4. Or visit our site for a free inventory evaluation. We'll go through, show you any photos, issues, pricing, things that you could do in your inventory right now to help make a difference. Check out our YouTube channel, all these videos. There's probably 70 or 80 videos. Some of them are 30-minute interviews with small town dealers, high-end dealers doing velocity turn to turnaround recon interviews. Check those out on YouTube at Lotpop. And again, give me a call or email if you need anything else. Thanks for watching.